So the president has told the Washington Examiner he wants to read the transcript of his call with the Ukrainian president, the matter at the heart of this whole impeachment process, live on television in what he's likening to a fireside chat. The president saying, quote, "When you read it, it's a straight call." See if he does it. Another witness testifying behind closed doors today, and Republicans say it wasn't good news for the Democrats' impeachment push. Timothy Morrison, who's stepping down from his National Security Council post tomorrow, I think, became the first White House political appointee to be deposed. His opening statement shows Morrison contradicted earlier testimony from other witnesses and said, quote, "I want to be clear, I was not concerned that anything illegal was discussed," referring to the July 25th phone call between President Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart. Meanwhile, former National Security Advisor John Bolton's attorney says he will not testify voluntarily. Instead, he's waiting on a subpoena. So the impeachment stage is now set. Republicans touting bipartisan opposition to today's procedural vote because 2 Democrats voted against the resolution with all the Republicans. It's the one outlining the process for moving forward. Now, the 2 sides are very sharply divided about what it means in reality.
It's about the truth. It's about the Constitution.
This is Soviet-style rules. Don't run a sham process.
They don't want to see a proper investigation.
They are trying to impeach the President of the United States less than 13 months before an election.
No one is above the law.
Joining me now, former chief counsel for the House Judiciary Committee Democrats, Julian Epstein, and constitutional law attorney and Trump 2020 Advisory Board member, Jenna Ellis Rives. Thank you both for being with us. Good to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Great to see you, Shannon.
Okay, so I want to read something that the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, said back in March of this year, a few months ago. She said impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country and he's just not worth it. Jenna, today's vote was pretty much along party lines, except for the 2 Democrats who crossed over with Republicans to vote no.
Yeah, well, interestingly, Shannon, the bipartisan support was actually against impeachment. And so Nancy Pelosi is eating her words, and she is showing that she's simply a liar and she's not willing to actually stand up for due process or the Constitution in this country, because the bipartisan support, even though it was only 2 Democrats, still showed that there was absolutely no Republican support for impeachment. And so this is completely a sham. This is an attempted ouster of a United States president by one political party. And Politico even had that in their article of coverage today, saying that this is an ouster or an attempted ouster of a president of the United States. And that's simply not how our American system of government works. And so for the vote today on these rules, Republicans have continued to say that we want to make sure to see due process happen. Just because now there is a process, that doesn't mean that this is a fair, reasonable, or constitutionally driven process that is for free and fair elections, and making sure that it is actually giving the facts to come out into light, and that it shows completely that the Democrats are not interested in fact-finding or truth. They're simply interested in hating President Trump and undermining the will of the American people.
Well, the House obviously has got a lot of leeway in how they conduct these things, so they're moving forward as House, the Democrats who now control the House, think is most appropriate at this point. But here is what the ranking member, Doug Collins, on the House Judiciary Committee, here's what he told our Brett Baer tonight.
The problem is that they want you to appear that they've done something. In reality, all they did was solidify Adam Schiff's control. Let's have an honest debate. If you want this to be a true inquiry, then treat it with the respect and the deference that it deserves, not the way that they're doing it now in the basement of the Capitol, simply letting people know what they want to know.
All right, Julian, how does today's vote give any additional rights to the minority party, to the White House, to the president? Does it?
Well, let me just say before I get to the process that every single witness, as far as we know from public reports, including all of the diplomatic corps, 2 White House witnesses, have all basically confirmed the same thing, which was the president was demanding a personal favor in the nature of a campaign interference in exchange for a national security aid that was to be given to the Ukrainians.
That's not what we understand Timothy Morrison said today.
No, it's exactly what he said today. He just
We've got a statement. We read part of it.
Excuse me.
No,
what he said
false.
was he didn't think it was a violation of the law, but he was very concerned that the aid was being held up so in order for the Ukrainians to participate in the campaign interference scheme that Trump was outlining. So I think he was very clear about that, and every witness has confirmed that. Most prosecutors would say that is tantamount to soliciting a bribe. So I think there is a very, very strong case on there were criminal law violations and certainly abuse of power. In terms of the process, I was the chief counsel for the Democrats during the Clinton impeachment. This is almost exactly word for word the process that the Republicans provided to the Democrats during the Clinton impeachment and to the Clinton White House. Specifically, the Republicans in 1998 said that the Clinton White House had the right to cross-examination of witnesses and had the right to be present during executive session hearings, closed hearings. That is exactly what is going to happen at the Judiciary Committee. Exactly word for word the same due process rights. Okay. They provided the minority the opportunity to suggest witnesses, the opportunity for the White House to object to evidence, suggest additional evidence. It is almost word for word the identical due process procedures that the Republicans gave the Clinton White House in 1998. Let me bring Jenna in
here. So Jenna, if that's the case, then what objections can Republicans or the White House have now?
Well, they absolutely can have objections because this is the Trump administration. We're not back in, the early 90s. And so this is a completely valid objection to say that the power is solely vested in arbitrary and capricious rules that the Democrats are pursuing.
Why don't you wrap that up with some substance? I mean, you keep talking in generalities.
Julian, exactly. Thank you, Shannon. Exactly what he just said at the beginning in characterizing the nature of the testimony without the American people and without President Trump being able to hear what's going on behind closed doors is exactly why this is fundamentally unfair. Because then Democrats can actually say, Democrats can then just come forward and characterize the nature of the testimony that's completely false. This would not happen in due process.
Let me just say something. Okay, guys, before we go completely off the rails, let me just say something. There is today, Timothy Morrison, both sides are not agreeing on what he said. But again, we don't know that because we're hoping we'll all get the transcripts at some point, so we know that. But what we have heard from him does push back on the narrative, Julian, that you're explaining tonight. He has actually contradicted previous witnesses and said that he wasn't worried about anything illegal. What he was worried about at one point was he went to the attorneys and said, I'm worried someone's going to leak this call.
No. He said
and that's why Julian afraid of.
He's not a legal witness. He's a fact witness. And what he said, according to all the reports, was yes, there was an exchange. In order for Ukraine to get this aid, they had to give Trump a personal favor. That is illegal. Okay, so that, and I think that will come out.
But he
so
said he didn't think there was anything illegal.
But
those are his words.
He's not a legal witness. He's a fact witness.
He was actually on the call, though, unlike most of these witnesses.
This actually goes, though, to the...
Okay, Julian,
he's not a lawyer. He's not somebody that's going to come to a legal conclusion. He was brought up as a fact witness. That's point one. Secondly, your guest keeps giving these generalities that just make no sense. I mean, Republicans have been on television for a month saying that the same rules that occurred during the Clinton impeachment in 1998 should apply here. And that's exactly what Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats did today. And now the Republicans are still complaining, which tells you they don't want to talk about the facts because the facts are strong against the president. They want to talk about
if you were interested in fact-finding, you'd be interested in the truth and not 2 months down the road now with this sham prosecution.
We're not going to have any meeting in the minds, but we will have you back because I'm hoping we'll get more information and see these transcripts for ourselves. In the meantime,
more substance.
Julian,
thank you.
And Jenna, thank you both.